Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in China conduct home visitations to better prepare for this year's winter relief distributions. Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia held a joint free clinic with a local enterprise to alleviate sufferings. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. In Fujian, China, Tzu Chi volunteers in Zhangzhou made home visitations in preparation for their annual winter relief distributions. Over the weekend, the volunteers divided into 47 teams and visited needy families in 20 villages. Besides visiting the disadvantaged families on the list provided by the government, the volunteers also made an effort to visit other impoverished families to make sure Tzu Chi's assistance can reach as many families as possible.
Making home visitations in preparation of this year's winter relief distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers are doing their best to ensure every poor and needy family receive much-needed aid. Next to the abandoned pig pen stands 79-year-old Yang Helai's home. Yang is a solitary senior who lives on the government's meager subsidies.
Oh,
Having gone through surgery for laryngeal carcinoma, 47-year-old Dai Meiyin cannot talk and has been cared for by her father-in-law for more than 10 years. Seeing the Tzu Chi volunteers, she wrote down words of appreciation.
She is full of gratitude. Thank you, you are a bodhisattva. Our master is concerned about you. Thank you.
This 11-year-old girl lives with her mother, who's mentally ill, and thus has to cook and do household chores.
Since we've encountered the situation, we must face and accept it. Stay strong. There are many kind people in society.
As the volunteers praised the girl for being mature, Lin Yiyan burst into tears. At an innocent young age, Lin was forced to face the harsh realities of life. Through the home visitations, the volunteers further understood the needs of these families while learning to also count and cherish their own blessings.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Eastern China recently held the 2015 Team Leader Training Seminar at the Tzu Chi Suzhou grounds. In preparation, Tzu Chi volunteers from Jiangsu and Shanghai began cleaning up the venue a week before the seminar. But let's first take a look at how one of the seminar lecturers, Dharma Master DaAi, talked about Tzu Chi's early days.
Tzu Chi volunteers from all over China come together for the 3-day 2015 Team Leader Training Seminar held at the Tzu Chi Suzhou grounds. One lecturer, Dharma Master DaAi, who first came to China to carry out disaster relief work more than 20 years ago, gave a lecture on Tzu Chi's legacy.
The master taught us to stay brave in the face of hardship. The strength of faith in the Buddhas is incredible, so we endured the difficult times. The legacy of Tzu Chi is having strength to live a frugal life and overcome hardship even with scarce resources.
Dharma Master DaAi also showed how the monastic disciples made salted tofu in Tzu Chi's early days.
We cut the tofu into small pieces and salted it. We ate it when there was no other food. We could eat a 5-cent tofu for over a month.
Besides the lecturers from Taiwan, volunteers from Beijing also joined the local volunteers to help prepare for the seminar.
Solemnity comes from being mindful. When you are mindful at every moment, then there will be solemnity.
We must study the wondrous teachings with mindfulness. In fact, everyone is like a sutra for us to learn from.
As the volunteers learn and take the Jingsi Dharma lineage to heart, they will be ready to walk unwaveringly on the Tzu Chi path in China. In preparation for the seminar, more than 200 volunteers from Shanghai traveled to the Tzu Chi Suzhou grounds to take up the task of cleaning the venue. Among them are husband and wife teams, as well as families.
I sweated and my hand and waist are sore, but I'm filled with joy.
They're joyful because they actually learn much from giving themselves.
Cleaning up was a special experience. As the other brothers and sisters worked mindfully, I was inspired to follow suit.
I must pay attention to every step. If I do not do my task well, that might mean more work for other people.
At this team leader training seminar, volunteers from Kunshan made nutritious buns for breakfast.
这个自己做比较好啊，比较好吃又卫生。爱心有笑声都在里面了。温度几度？我们的都是恒温算是7度。恒温算是7度。对，最贴心的温度。
请我们的慈济家人们享用。
Besides providing good food, the volunteers also worked to make sure the attendees could sleep well. While volunteers in charge of class materials and transportation all joined practice runs, and Dharma masters from Taiwan's Jingsi abode arrived to encourage everyone.
Place your right hand inside the left hand. Do you understand?
The Dharma masters taught volunteers Buddhist etiquette and gave some last-minute reminders.
Just make sure everything runs smoothly. Our lecturers are truly mindful.
Working with one heart to ensure the success of the seminar, the volunteers and lecturers have gained a precious experience and Dharma joy during their preparation.
Next, we follow Master Zheng Yan as she visits the Jingsi Hall in Taoyuan, where she was greeted by a group of young volunteers at the Jingsi Books and Cafe. Many of the young volunteers seized the opportunity to make great bows in front of the master, while Bali water park explosion survivor Mr. Lu expressed his thanks to the master and the Tzu Chi volunteers for supporting him on the road to recovery. Young volunteers at the Jingsi Books and Cafe expressed their love for Master Zheng Yan out loud. Young volunteers show their determination to walk the Tzu Chi path by putting on a sign language performance. Upon the master's arrival at the Jingsi Hall in Taoyuan, a group of young volunteers respectfully presents their notebooks, on which are written with their wishes and goals. With Tzu Chi volunteers by his side every step of the way following the Bali water park explosion, Mr. Lu has learned to cherish his blessings. Today he has come to thank Master Zheng Yan. In the wake of the devastating earthquakes in Nepal, Tzu Chi volunteers across Taiwan mobilized to pack boxes of relief goods before delivering them to the airport.
3 recycling trucks arrived at our storage area around 10:30.
任何一个大小事，慈济人都是跑在最前头，而且呢。
Master Zheng Yan encourages everyone to shoulder the organization's recycling effort as a way to protect the planet. In light of the suffering of the Syrian refugees in the Middle East, the Australian Prime Minister announced that the country will take in 12,000 refugees from Syria. However, as Australia is currently battling a high unemployment rate, getting a job is not easy there. We now show you what life is like for refugees in the country and how Tzu Chi volunteers are doing what they can to help out. Australia is blessed with a pleasant climate and comfortable living environment and is thus nicknamed a paradise for immigrants.
The total population of the country exceeds 23 million people, and most of them came from abroad. Due to Australia's close proximity to Indonesia, many refugees chose to sail from Indonesia to try to reach Australia. However, the voyage is treacherous and often ends in tragedy.
Anybody want to come here to a boat? I tell no, because it's not worth it. It's better to die.
daughters raped a mother, you cannot feel this.
The Australian government has taken these refugees in and given them proper shelter, but to adjust to a new life is a completely different challenge. Encouraged by the Tzu Chi volunteers, Kasmi puts her English skills to use and often attends Tzu Chi's food distributions to help other refugees, an act which also helps her with her own integration into society. Reciprocating what they have received locally, these volunteers prove their worth through giving and show themselves that they do control their destiny.
We often work together with them. They still cannot get a job yet, so we hope they can do some more volunteer work so that they may have a chance to give. I think spiritual support is very important. Sometimes after gaining their trust, they will share their ordeal with you.
These Taiwanese immigrants know well what it is like to start a new life in a new environment.
How are you?
Empathizing with the needs of these refugees, Tzu Chi has been holding regular free clinics, even providing door-to-door shuttle service for more than a decade.
When the refugees come, they're not always eligible for the benefits that we offer in Australia, so some of them will come with very little money.
We wanted to provide them with free medical services. At first, they still had their reservations about the fact that we are a Buddhist charity. They were puzzled that a Buddhist charity would come help Christians.
But why should religion matter when it comes to helping someone out? By taking concrete actions, Tzu Chi volunteers have dissolved these doubts. Volunteers hope that for those refugees, not only will Australia become their new home, but also their spiritual haven.
In Medan, Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers have teamed up with local businesses to hold a free clinic for the poor. The clinic offers consultations in ophthalmology, ENT, and dermatology, which pretty much cover all the needs of the some 500 residents who attended the event. Patient Fuadi says, thanks to Tzu Chi's assistance, he can finally undergo a surgery to remove a tumor which may affect his vision. Due to constant exposure to sunlight and therefore UV radiation, a skin cancer-like tumor began growing by the right eye of Fuadi 6 years ago.
At first, the growth was white in color, but it disappeared soon after. Perhaps now because I'm older and my immune system is weaker, it has come back again.
Fuadia has come to Tzu Chi's free clinic for a checkup, afraid that the tumor will affect his vision. The doctors have arranged for it to be removed.
We will take him to a well-equipped hospital to remove this malignant tumor. As it is very close to his eye, his vision might be affected.
The free clinic was held at Labuhan, Medan, and saw some 500 residents. Besides ophthalmology, the clinic also offered ENT and dermatology consultations. Tzu Chi also teamed up with local businesses to provide checkups for families in need.
We will fulfill our social responsibility and perform cataract exams for the poor, those that do need surgery. We will also take care of them if they are qualified.
For those that do need cataract surgery, arrangements will be made to ensure they can be healthy once again. Next to me, liver transplant donor Cai Zhiling. 7 years ago, Cai's father, who suffered cirrhosis for 15 years, was in desperate need of a liver transplant. Upon learning of the news, Cai and his 2 siblings all agreed to do what they could to help their father. Initially, Cai's older brother was selected. However, 3 days before the surgery, the doctor discovered that his blood vessels were too thick compared to those of his father. In the end, Cai Zhiling was the lucky one who donated part of his liver to save his father.
These scars represent the journey my dad and I went through together. My father used to purchase over-the-counter medicine or Chinese medicine. We didn't know if those medications made his liver problems worse or not. I was ill from 1993 to 2008. I had to live with my illness for 15 years. During those years, my skin, including my face, turned black. I decided to go to the doctor with my father. I never thought that I had to donate some of my liver to save my father. The doctor told me that my father was in a critical condition and that a liver transplant was needed before it was too late. My children and I all went through a thorough health exam. The report suggested that my daughter was not suitable because her liver is smaller than usual. Initially, my eldest son was the one chosen for the liver transplant. However, 3 days before the surgery, the doctor told us that my eldest son's blood vessels were too thick. At the end, my second son was the one that donated some of his liver to me. I was still able to donate some of my liver to my dad, even though the amount of fat contained in my liver was 5 to 10% higher than usual. When I was younger, I almost passed away due to liver-related problems. I remember I stayed at National Cheng Kung University Hospital for 2 months without health insurance. My son is a very sweet child. After he received the news, he immediately asked for time off to undergo the liver transplant. The surgery started around 8 o'clock in the morning and ended around 7 at night. We had limited knowledge on liver transplants, so I was afraid that the surgery may affect my child. I didn't want to undergo the procedure. However, my wife and children gave me a lot of encouragement. My second son told me what would happen if I didn't undergo a liver transplant, so I finally agreed. My son and I go out to exercise very often following the surgery. Back then, my son had to wear 1 liver drainage bag, and I had to wear 2. When we were still at the hospital, our doctor told us that exercising would speed up the recovery time. I'm extremely grateful to my wife and children for providing me with endless support during those times. I have been listening to the Buddha Dharma for years. However, before the liver transplant, I didn't understand that much. I guess it was the change in mood and mindset that helped me understand the Dharma better. Since April 20th of this year, I've been sending the wisdom I've received from reading the Dharma to my family members on a daily basis. I told everyone that my son gave me another chance at life, so I need to live life to the fullest. I said to my children that my wife and I don't have much fortune to pass on to them, but I have some wise words for them. I hope they can always speak good words, think good thoughts, and walk the right path.
Being a vegetarian is not hard in the eyes of many of the young vegetarians that we have featured in our weekly series, as their motivation to do so is simple. They love animals and the planet. In this week's series, we meet 7th grader Zhang Zixian from Taipei, Taiwan, who has been a vegetarian for 2 years following her participation in a sutra performance.
The bass recorder's notes are low, but it's very pleasant to the ears. When I'm practicing my calligraphy, I concentrate on each stroke to make sure it's right. I hope everyone creates more blessings in the world. To me, friends are like the sun that warms me in the winter months. Since I've already decided to make these for my friends, I want to do the best I can. These are small white mice, and these are pandas. When I was younger, I liked to draw. The earth is running a fever. Don't hurt it anymore.
把饭压住，对，把饭压住，对。
当初会想要吃。
In the beginning, I became a vegetarian because I was participating in a sutra adaptation. There were 4 requirements. One of them was adopting a vegetarian diet to protect the planet. My mother makes the most delicious curry. She adds tofu and potatoes. At school, I only take the vegetables from the school lunches, not the meat. I invited a friend to take on a meatless diet with me, and he surprisingly agreed.
Actually, before she became a vegetarian, she had told me that she wanted to take on a meatless diet like me. After 2 months of being a vegetarian for the sutra performance, she continued with the diet. She was very firm and told me she wanted to only eat vegetables.
I want to become a doctor when I grow up because when I saw them helping people on Tzu Chi News, I felt as if that's something I want to do as well.
I'm just as shocked as you. I've only heard that she wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know she changed her mind and set such a high goal for herself.
我们今天要来做小志工，耶！当近视书学生。
To me, being a Jingsi Books and Cafe volunteer is better than going to the amusement park or shopping.
I feel that volunteering helps broaden my child's thinking and beliefs.
师姑师伯去赈灾的时候，对，都会用这些香鸡饭，因为我以前比较怕生。
I was afraid of greeting customers in the beginning. If my mother or sister is nearby, they encourage me to go ask customers if they need my help or to introduce products to them.
有啊，本来就是要去宫崎骏啊。
那是因为我想去，因为这个校园很大，然后呢资源又很。
This campus is very big and full of natural resources. We feed the birds, ducks, and fish together. They are all very adorable. We shouldn't kill or eat animals. We can all be vegetarians to protect the planet.
We go to Canada at the end of the show, where Tzu Chi volunteers in Toronto organized a 7th Lunar Month event for members of local Chinese community and community residents. During the event, Tzu Chi's put on performances to entertain event participants, while Tzu Chi volunteers encourage everyone to go meatless for the sake of the planet and all sentient beings. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.